Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wolfe Pit with another episode of What Are We Eating? Almost 2 years ago, I did a video on canned smoked oysters, which I've been eating every once in a while for years. While doing the video, I realized all the ones I was trying were a product of China. Some tasted okay, some didn't. But the two issues I had was, why are we buying oysters from China when we have an abundant amount of wild and farm-raised oysters here in the U.S.? So why not buy U.S. products and support U.S. businesses if they're available? Also, the fact that food regulations on farm-raised seafood in China is very questionable. So I started looking around for smoked oysters from the U.S. and very quickly found some. One was the u.s.a Oyster Company out of u.s.a in Washington State, and the other was Sea Bear Smoked Pacific Oysters, also from Washington State. I am 100% in favor of supporting American products, and I especially like supporting small local businesses when possible. Yes, you're going to pay more, but you'll also get a superior product in most cases, in my opinion, which was the case with the smoked oysters from the u.s.a Oyster Company and Sea Bear. The flavor, the texture, and the overall quality was night and day compared to the smoked oysters from China. The same thing goes for our canned tuna fish. Did you know that most of our canned tuna fish is a product of China or somewhere else outside the US? And I just don't understand why. We have an abundant amount of tuna here in the US, which is also why I support the American Tuna Company, where all the tuna is line and pole caught right off the coast of California. Yes, it's more expensive than the typical canned tuna you buy in the store, but you're not only getting a superior product where you know exactly where it came from, but you're also supporting another small American company. So all of this brings me to today's video, which is long overdue. One of my viewers, John, I don't recall his last name, sent me a gift pack of Chuck's Seafood out of Charleston, Oregon that contained fresh packed king or Chinook salmon, fresh packed white albacore tuna, smoked king salmon, smoked albacore tuna, and their own farm-raised smoked Pacific oysters. Thank you very much, John, for the gift pack, and I really do apologize it's taken so long to get the video done. So let's try the 3-ounce can of Pacific smoked oysters first. All the cans have easy open lids, which makes them obviously easy to open, but also great for taking on fishing, hunting, and camping trips. As soon as I opened up the can of smoked oysters, I immediately got a sweet smoke aroma, and as you look in the can, the oysters aren't drowning in oil like the smoked oysters from China. So you're actually getting 3 ounces of oysters and not paying for unnecessary or eating unnecessary oil. Although they're not swimming in oil, they sure do look plenty moist. At this point, I was salivating like a rabid dog, and I had to try one. And I wasn't only trying it for you, the people, this time. I was trying it for me. I love oysters. Now, if you're not an oyster lover, this probably doesn't look good to you. But if you are an oyster lover like me, this is gold from the sea. Hey, that kind of rhymes. I'm a poet and didn't even know it. Get it? Oyster lover like me, this is gold from the sea. I'll be here all week. As soon as it hit my tongue, I instantaneously got the mild sweet flavor from the alderwood, then the very clean salinity flavor from the water they were farmed in. These were melt in your mouth tender and delectable. I tried a few on a cracker, which is probably how most people are going to eat them. So I loaded up the cracker and couldn't wait to shove it in my mouth. Although I enjoyed and savored the flavor of the delicious oysters on the cracker, I think I much prefer the pure smoked oyster flavor on its own. So me personally, I would eat these straight out of the can with a fork. If you remember, the Chinese oysters were various colors and some being pretty green on the inside, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, because I believe the insides depend on the waters the oysters are raised in, so the colors will vary. These oysters have a brownish inside with some hints of green. I didn't want to limit this video just to the smoked oysters. I wanted to try one more thing from the gift pack, and I wanted something else smoked. So I chose the smoked Chinook salmon. For the main reason, I'm not a huge fan of salmon. The only way I like to eat salmon is if it's from a can and made into salmon cakes and fried, which is one of my favorite foods from my childhood. If you want me to do a video on canned salmon cakes, hit that like button and let me know. Other than that, I'm just not a big fan of salmon. So we popped open the can, and again, immediately got the same tantalizing sweet alder smoke aroma. Inside the can, there's big chunks of salmon with a bit of oil. But you're not supposed to drain this. But before I dumped it all out into a bowl, my mouth began watering again. And I had to try a little piece first. It definitely looked nice and moist with a light hue of smoke coloring on the salmon. When I put it in my mouth, I was very happily surprised. I just love the flavor of the alder, and although it's not overpowering at all, the salmon was a bit smokier than the oysters. The firm, moist salmon paired with the sweet alder smoke was incredible. So let's dump the salmon out and take a closer look and do something with it besides eat it plain. So everything in the can goes into the bowl, and then once it's mixed well, all the oil is absorbed. And it did indeed flake right apart and absorb a little bit of oil. I didn't want to just eat this plain. I wanted to make a simple spread for some crackers. And I really wanted to use some cream cheese, but we didn't have any. So I ended up using just a little bit of mayonnaise instead, and that was it. The flavor of the salmon on its own was great. I just wanted to cream it up a bit without really changing the flavor. So the mayonnaise is all I added. Of course, there's lots of other things you could add to suit your personal taste, like a little bit of dill, capers, onions, etc. So we gave that a good mix. I spread a generous amount of the salmon spread on a cracker. And then into my pie hole it went. And that little bit of mayonnaise made this a fantastic, extra creamy spread for the crackers. So here's my final thoughts on Chuck's Seafood's Pacific smoked oysters and smoked salmon. They were both delectable with the absolute perfect amount of alder smoke flavor, which perfectly complemented the naturally sweet and salty seafood. Which is why Chuck's Seafood out of Charleston, Oregon gets a perfect score of 10 out of 10. Sure, they cost more than what you get in most grocery stores, but remember, you get what you pay for, and you're supporting an American company. If you'd like to help support the Wolfe Pit, consider being a patron. You can pledge as little as $1 a month, that's only $12 for the whole year. Or you can pledge more, that's up to you. Either way, every little bit's appreciated and helps me produce more high quality videos more often for you, the people. Thank you all very much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.